Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about best PvP decks in November of Duel Links. Now, post was the 13th of November. It's a little different. This is actually how the rest of the world does their dates. It was about 8 days ago that they posted this, because it's the first time I've actually done this. Kind of the way I wanted to format this is talk a couple decks with Tier 4, a few more decks with Tier 3, a few more decks with Tier 2, all the decks with Tier 1, and talking about the decks more and more as we get up higher. And looking at Tier 4, there's a lot of monsters, or a lot of decks in here. Kaiba Turbo, Worm. I actually think Worm could be potentially Tier 3. I think Destiny Hero. If there was an more consistent way to get Plasma out, I think you could put that maybe in Tier 3. Arcana Knight. I will say, for the being a budget deck, it is kind of hard to get a hold of, because Arcana Knight's one of the harder cards to get. It's the cover card of Generation Next. But there's a lot of really good cards in Generation Next. There's a lot of Worm cards in Generation Next. Crystal Beast, Exodia. That's really it for Tier 4, though. Not really a whole lot of great decks here, at least according to this website. If you are running those decks, by all means, continue to do so. If you're king of games and you're playing Counter Trap, by all means, continue to do so. There really aren't a whole lot of great Counter Traps, though, in the game. Brotherhood of the Fire Fist, that's a deck I really like, and I hope it gets new support. Obviously, it doesn't need synchro support. I just think, okay, no, if you give it Baron Gorilla, that makes the deck really powerful. You know, the ability to get rid of a spell, destroy a monster, destroy a spell and trap, that's really, really powerful. But Fiend Farewell, that's actually an archetype that can get going, especially because it does run 3 Sphere Karibos, which is a very powerful card. Silent Magician, it's kind of like Chaos Max Dragon Turbo in like real life Yu-Gi-Oh! That's kind of what Silent Magician is. Like, yeah, there's a lot of ways to out Chaos Max Dragon, and it's not really that problematic of a boss monster. But if you don't have the out for it, you might just lose. And a 3500 attack beat stick that's unaffected by spells, you might just lose if you don't draw the mirror walls, the wall of disruptions. Not really anything else. Dinosaur Kingdom, it's sitting all the way down here in Tier 3 land. I will say this about Ojamas. If you can pull it off, I'm trying to think to myself, how do you out an Ojama King? That summoned first turn. That's hard to do, but it is possible. How do you out that? We're getting into the level, or to Tier 2 now. Relinquished. That's another card that's like, how do you? That's another. I would say Silent Magician level 8 like card, where it's like, yeah, in regular Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a lot of outs for Relinquished, but in Duel Links, there's not really a whole lot of outs for Relinquished, and he's really good form of non-targeting removal. You want to talk about how to get rid of Silent Magician? Relinquish can do it. But Materia Beatdown. This is another cheeky little deck that I think you should definitely maybe pay attention to and look at. I will say this: if you're not going to run it, at least know what it does. Because what this deck is essentially based around stalling to get out Materia, Stag Beetle. Stag Beetle, I had to reread this card's effect. For those who don't know, once returned during the battle or damage step, so it activates during the damage step of this card's attack, so it does have to attack itself, but it's only by itself. When your opponent activates a card or effect, select one Materia monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So when it activates a Rush Recklessly, a Mirror Wall, a Wall Disruption, Materia Stag's effect activates, special summons a monster. Boom. All of a sudden, your opponent might be in some trouble. If you get 2 of these on the field, 2200 attack turns into 2800 attack. And so, if you don't know what this deck did, or if you don't want to run this deck, at least know what this deck does. If you're going to be playing ranked anytime soon. That's really it for the Tier 2. So now we're entering Tier 1. These are the best of the best when it comes to Duel Link decks in November. Or I guess the first 2 decks is Gladiator Beast and Worm Milling. I would definitely consider both these to be fairly budget options, and they both play, I would argue, similar play styles. But Gladiator Beasts are a little bit more aggressive, but both decks are gonna kind of like set 3 cards in their back row. The only difference is Worm Mill is gonna set a card, whereas Gladiator Beasts are gonna summon a Gladiator Beast. In a 20 card deck, so you got 16 cards to start off with. You activate a couple ace. You mill 3 cards. That's -5. You already started at 16, so you're at 11 now. The next deck, Horse of the Black Flame, level 8 Turbo. This is my problem with this deck. You open the first 5 cards. I know it's unlikely, but if you do, you open the first 5 cards right here. What's your play? You summon a Sergeant Electro and pass. Sergeant Electro, it's got 1600 attack. That's my problem with this deck. Too many high-level monsters. I think if you look at a lot of the best decks in the PvP, with the exclusion of Cyber Angels, not a lot of high-level monsters. Neither of these decks run a lot of high-level monsters in the main deck, and I think that's very relevant. Statue Control, This isn't a deck I'm too familiar with. It's not a deck that I've seen. Toon, I don't know if I put Toon this high up here. I honestly think you could give Toons all their support, and it still wouldn't be a very good deck. Even if this deck had Toon Brief, I think with the exclusion of Mimicat, if you add Mimicat to this deck, okay, then you're seeing this deck actually be fairly strong. It's just, I don't find it to be very good. If you want to run Toons, this is the format to do it. Duel Links is the format to do it, but it's just not very good in my opinion. Parasite Infestation, just take a look at this deck. This is, when you talk about what you'd expect from Lava Golem Burn deck, this is what you'd expect. You'd expect Training Shield. You'd expect Massive Morph. That's it. This is all you need. I think that because of the way this card interacts with the game, I really don't think that Massive Morph is a great card to have. I think Mirror Wall and Massive Morph are two cards that I definitely would not be upset with going to 1 or 2. Mausoleum Invader, summon big monsters and win. We have Ninjas with the Paradox Brothers. It's super strong. What you do is you summon this guy, you summon this guy, and you use these things, and that's all you do. And what's great about Ninjas is, I mean, I'm just gonna open all of them. What's great about Ninjas is they all have forms of removal. Yeah, this one, Mass Ninja, Ibitsu, Aqua Armor Ninja is not terrible. Floodgate Trapple is not terrible. Really, what this deck's based around, summoning out Red Dragon Ninja as quickly as possible, and due to the Paradox's Brothers' skill to reduce the level of all your monsters in your hand, is real easy to do. I would personally run this at 2 because I like deck thinning and drawing 2 cards. But this card searches, you don't want to be inconsistent, but this card searches this card, this card, and this card, and this card summons all of these cards right here. So I think that this deck should be considered to be the best, if not the best or the second best deck, one of the top 3 decks in the game right now. Sacred Phoenix, super powerful deck. I've never been a big fan of the interaction between Fire King Island and Sacred Phoenix and Nephitis, because what happens is Nephitis comes back, if that's how you say it, Nephitis. During your standby phase, you destroy Fire King Island. Fire King Island's effect activates and it destroys Sacred Phoenix. Now he's going to come back during your next standby phase, but are you going to be alive then? Especially because you're not running any back row. A deck that's kind of been here for a while, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Zombie Turbo, Summon Samurai Skull, Summon Gozuki, Sun, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Zombie. Or activate Red Eyes Insight, go get Red Eyes Spirit, send Red Eyes Black. I like this deck. Is really good at what it can do. The final 2 decks, Cyber Angels, not really a surprise there, but Ancient Gears. Ancient Gears, this deck says it's budget. If it's budget, if you play the heck out of the events. Just looking at this deck right here, this is a fairly standard build. You 3 Beasts, 3 Knight, an extra Castle. Obviously, you use the skill to open with Ancient Gear Castle. What's cool about that, and what's cool about this deck, is actually a couple things. One thing, Ancient Gear Castle, people know what Ancient Gear Castle does. People know how powerful it is if they just let it stay on the field. It's going to buff up all your Ancient Gears while also giving you free tribute fodder. And that's just a really strong interaction in the game. And it's almost always going to see the Cosmic Cyclone hit. But also Ancient Gear Golem. This is, if I had to pick, I would say the Cyber Angel Boss Monster, Horse of the Black Flame level 8, maybe Destiny Hero Plasma if he was easier to summon, and Ancient Gear Golem. Those are like the when you ask me what are the best monsters, just by themselves, monsters in the game, I would say those are the 4 best monsters. And it would be really hard to not pick Ancient Gear Golem as the best monster in the game. It inflicts piercing damage. It's got 3k attack, but if you flip it to defense, unlike Horse of the Black Flame level 8, it's got 3k defense. It's an Armati, so your opponent's not going to be able to activate spells and traps. If you got Beatdown, it can be 3300 attack. If you got Castle, it can be 3600 attack. If you don't have those two together, you just have 3300 attack beat stick. That's an Armati's. That inflicts piercing. No, it can't be special summoned, but doesn't need it. We're not running Gear Town. We're not running Ancient Gear Catapult. Why do you need it to special summon? You don't need to special summon it. And it puts your opponent on an immediate clock as soon as this card sees the field, because your opponent, much like Ancient Gear Castle, your opponent has to out this card before they can do anything. So that's about it. That's where we sit as of right now in the Duel Links metaverse, meta zone. If you have any other questions about Duel Links, don't be afraid to let me know down in the comment section below. But most importantly, guys, have a great day.